Welcome back to the Quantum Guide Show. Today, in episode 185, I am very happy to bring back my returning guest, Aage Nost. Aage was born in Norway, and by the age of 25, he had learned several languages, studied science, including metaphysics and different forms and theories of spirituality. He taught the Subliminal Dynamics Mind Development course, which teaches you to assimilate information from a book at a rate of 50,000 or more words per minute, creative visualization for healing and manifestation, and creative goal setting. He later co-wrote a book with author Patricia Rest titled Alien Encounters in America's Midwest. It featured hidden government documents proving the government cover-up of the UFO issue, NASA prints of buildings and structures on our moon, and personal testimonies from UFO abductees. Then, for 6 years, he was the host and producer of a live TV talk show called The Hidden Truths in Tucson, Arizona. It featured the paranormal, UFOs, controversial political issues, government cover ups, mind development, hidden and banned medical cures, future science, and other out of the box issues not covered by the mainstream media. In July of 2003, he was interviewed by BBC Television in England for a TV documentary titled Time Trip, discussing the possibilities of and practical applications of time travel. Also interviewed for the same documentary was theoretical physicist and author Michio Kaku and three other theoretical physicists. Aage also wrote the book Spiritual Science, Higher Consciousness Thinking, and How to Access the Universal Consciousness, now available on Amazon. And he wrote the book Universal Success Principles and How Billionaires Think. He just put out a video documentary under the brand name Fast Walkers Open Files Volume 6, featuring UFOs, alien presence, universal consciousness, the real power of the mind, and other things that you're not supposed to know about. And with two partners, he started a podcast with video production called Broadcast Team Alpha. To find out more about Aage and his various projects, the links are featured below in the description. Thank you for subscribing. Leave me a comment and please do smash that like button. Today in episode 185, we're going to discuss Aage's Mastermind project. Aage, welcome to the Quantum Guide Show. How you doing today?
Oh, thank you for having me. This is going to be fun. I love these things. I love live shows. Because once in a while we have surprises.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, in fact, I'm just going to put up Pietro. Sorry, Pietro, if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Schiavetti. Anyway, he says, excited for this live. Well, we're excited to have you here, Pietro. Thank you for joining us. So
Yeah.
today, the theme is Truth is Stranger Than Fiction. And in truth, the Mastermind project is very strange to a lot of people. A lot of people never heard of it, have no idea it exists, and yet it's so powerful. Aage, do you want to give us a bit of background and information about the Mastermind?
Yeah. I think that would be a good place to start. And when I do these shows, I always like to give something to people that will make their life better. We're going to do that today. And it's okay to talk about all the exotic stuff about how interdimensional travel and what's on the moon and what do you find in the Schrodinger crater on the moon and who is up there looking back at us when we look at the moon and all these other stuff, the science of UFOs and stuff. It's okay to talk about that, But what does it really do for us that can help our life? Excuse me. Uh, uh, we need something in our lives also because there's tricky times out there now. We need to outthink the enemy because there is an enemy among us that does not necessarily want our have our best interest at heart, and that enemy is so embedded that it's you can not even see it. And that's why I 3 years ago now, about 3 years ago, Nori Love, who is my co-host on the broadcast team Alpha Show, we started a mastermind group, and it has grown into a phenomenally powerful group. It seems like we are creating out of seemingly nothing sometimes, because if we have a large group of people that join minds together, that creates an energetic field, technically another mind that is attached to us. And within that mind, there is tremendous, almost unlimited creative capability. And let me just give you a couple of quick examples and tell you what actually you can do. You can come and join us in our mastermind, or you can create one by yourself, in your family, in your church group, in your ball game, football clubs and basketball clubs. They do this all the time, but they don't talk about it. They never talk about it because that's kind of their secret to success, so to speak. But to give you an example of what can be done, and we do this quite often, and that there was the wife of one of the members of the mastermind group. She was in the hospital. She was going down the tubes really fast with COVID, and they were going to put her on the ventilator and also use that medication we can't mention on on YouTube that usually do away with you. And they were going to do that the next day. And we wrapped our mastermind around her, and we visualized her walking out of the hospital perfectly cured. And at the end of it, I kind of made a flippant comment like, she'll be home tomorrow. I didn't even think about it, or actually, it just came out, and maybe it just had something to do. But the next day, her husband called me in the late afternoon, and he said, "My wife is home." And
Wonderful.
I said, "Yeah, how did that happen?" And he said, "The doctor told her you recovered so fast, there was no reason for us to keep you any longer." That is one example. And this is very possible to do within a mastermind group. And you can do this at home, or you can do it with us. Another one was, there was a lady in Northern California a little while back. There were forest fires up there, and the fires were coming closer and closer to her home. And they hadn't rained up there for months and months. And she called, and she said, "I'm going to have to go into town because I'm afraid my house is going to burn. So is there anything you can do with the mastermind?" Because she was part of that also. And I said, "Well, let's do it." And on that Sunday, we wrapped our mastermind around her house, and her animals. She had quite a few chickens and cats and stuff. And we was visualized ourselves standing on a hill next to the house, and we saw the dark clouds coming in and the rain coming down. We felt the rain dripping off our head. Our hair was all wet, clothes were wet, my boots were filling up with water. And we lived that heavy rain. And we got done, and then we went and did some other things. And then an hour and a half later, she called and she said, I just sent you a video because it's raining. And it hadn't rained up there for at least four months, I think. And now it wasn't totally clear skies. She could see the sky through the clouds, but there was no clouds there that really could create much rain, from what I understand. So this is also the kind of stuff you can do with a mastermind. And we've had people that really needed money for rent or car repairs, and we wrapped our mastermind around them, and they find it. It shows up. So this is the kind of stuff that you can do. And in just a little while, I'm going to tell you how you can do this at home, within your family, or you can come and join us. And I'm going to throw that our email address out there a couple of times, because we would love to see you come and join us, because the more people, the stronger it gets.
Mm-hmm.
And that mastermind email is the mastermind connection at gmail.com. The mastermind connection at gmail.com. And let me tell you why this actually works. It's because the definition of a mastermind is when two or more minds are united in harmony, they create a third mind that has the potential mind power of the two or more of them multiplied by each other. Which means if you had 1,000 people get together, go into a meditative state, focus on something to happen, now you have the mind power of 1,000 times 1,000. That's 1,000,000 minds. And that is powerful. And when you think about things that you need in your life, you want in your life, ask yourself, am I doing everything I can in order to make that happen? There are several things that has to happen. And that is, first of all, you got to know what you're doing. You got to be able to communicate with the universal mind. And there's a special language for that. It is not one of words, it is one of visualized images, emotion, intention, gratitude for already having it now, and love. You got to be able to visualize it. And when you do that a few times, you start getting a good picture of what you want. And you want that picture to exist in the present, because the universal mind only works with present moments, not time as we have constructed in our mind.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I am not the only one that's doing this, because we were talking before the show here, Karen, and you have some tremendous experience with this also. So,
Yeah, actually, I attended a few of your mastermind sessions and got some good tips and pointers for sure. And I wanted to live in a nicer home. I wanted to live in a nicer neighborhood, not just nicer, but quieter, with less drama, less goings on, less traffic. I wanted more privacy. And I talked to my son about it. We agreed that we were going to look for a new home. And I wanted it to have a full basement suite that he could live in and a full upper suite that I could live in, but he'd be close by, for taking me shopping and helping me lift heavy things or whatever. And so we agreed we would look for this house. And we started looking and driving around neighborhoods and coming up with, what we wanted, sort of fine tuning it. And eventually I actually wrote a list because I wanted so many different things to be part of this manifestation. And I wanted it to have 3 bedrooms that were upstairs, 3 bedrooms downstairs. I wanted 2 bathrooms upstairs. I wanted a bathroom in the downstairs. My son wanted a soaker tub. I wanted the backyard to have a high fence just to keep people and pets and stuff out. And I wanted a nice gardening shed. We wanted a garage in the front because there's less chance of it being broken into. I wanted everything to be modern fridge, dishwasher, stove, automatic garage door opener, all the bells and whistles, and on and on and on it went, Augie. And one day he said to me, it wasn't too long after, he said to me, Mom, it would be better if we had a third person that went in with us, because then we could really afford a nice place. And I said, that's a great idea. Let's look for someone. It was only less than a week later, he met this woman. They started spending time together. They ended up becoming boyfriend and girlfriend. And she wanted to go in with us on the house. And it just was a few days after. I mean, it didn't develop the relationship in a few days because we didn't actually find the house for like 5 or 6 months later. But long story short, she started coming with us on these drives, looking at houses, deciding what we wanted. I asked her what she wanted to put it on the list. And she has 2 cats, so she didn't want any carpeting in the basement. I mean, it's ridiculous when you think about the detail, what we wanted. And Augie, it was only a short time after that, we got a call from her aunt who said, hey, there's a house across the street and down a couple blocks. Why don't you guys go look at it? And we came and we looked at it. It was exactly what we wanted. And we ended up moving in shortly after. We've been here now for 4 years and we absolutely love it. It's so quiet. The neighbors mind their own business and they're nice people. And, it's just like paradise, absolute paradise. I have everything I ever wanted. There's even more later on. I didn't have any furniture and I made a note for myself. I'll show you the note right here. Sorry for rambling on, but it says $10,000, thank you, with a heart under it. I went, this is all the furniture I want, and I made a list what I wanted for my house, because before this we were in a small place. We didn't need much furniture. And within 6 months, Augie, I had every piece of furniture I wanted. And I didn't need the $10,000. So the $10,000 wasn't just for the sake of having the cash. It was because I wanted the furniture. So the universe knew what I really wanted and gave it to me. And I have the most beautiful, huge sectional couch and a electric fireplace, and I have a beautiful reclining chair in the second living room. I have 2 living rooms upstairs. Like unbelievable. I got absolutely everything I wanted. So I'll zip it now and let you continue. But I just wanted to tell people that's all happened for me since I've been applying the principles that you suggest.
Well, folks listening here, are you getting the hint yet? Maybe this is something that you should look at because it works. It's not just the two of us. There are hundreds of other people that is putting these principles to work that I know of. And the question is, for the nuts and bolt people out there, why and how does it work? Well, it works because we are living in a mind-created universe. Quantum mechanics telling us Everything around you is created by your mind. There is nothing physical except for what you think it is. So, how can that be? Maybe we're living in a simulation created by a mind. Let's look at that for a second. There's this physicist, his name is James Gates. He spent his whole life basically investigating the universe and sitting there staring at equations on the blackboard. And they don't see equations, they see concepts represented by the equations. So they see how it is behind the equation when they stare at it, and that is why it works for them. He says that when we look deep in the equations explaining the fabric of space, we find computer language. We didn't put it there, it just shows up. So if there is computer language in the fabric of space, there has to be a computer somewhere that created that language. Where's that computer? And who is creating that computer? I think I found it. Let me point to the person. It's it's you. Your mind, and I'm pointing to the brain and the heart also, as well as the universal mind that sets down the floor of understanding that you can build everything on by funneling information from the universal mind through your mind and projecting it outwards around you. So you have this mouse, you have this coffee cup. Yeah, gotta have coffee. Everything is created by your mind. The equations on the blackboard and the experience, as well as the scientific experiments, prove that we live in a mind created universe. Just like the double slit instrument and their experiment, and there's many others. So now think about that. If we create everything around us with our mind, do you think maybe we should be thinking a little different than what many of us do? Because a lot of people, they are all thinking about the past. Well, I did this, I screwed that one up. Man, oh man, that guy is here. He's a rotten son of a something or other. And you're thinking about what happened behind you. Why? You're not going that way. You're going this way. Think your future into existence before you have to live it. You can't do that. But you got to understand what you're doing. You got to use the spiritual language, not words, but emotion, vivid, colorful images, gratitude for having it right now in the present moment. Feel it and love it into existence. When you do that every day, just like Karen did with her son and the other lady, do it every day. Here you go. You sitting on the couch out there watching this now on the big screen on the wall. Just think about this. Get your family together. Decide what you want. That's important. You don't care how you're going to get it. That's not your job. That is the universe's job. All you care about is to know what you want. You can know what you want in concept and detail. Or if you leave it open, say, I want this concept. and leave the details out, maybe the universe have a better idea on how you could have that than you do. That can work also. But sit down as a family and decide what you want. Maybe you want a new car that is on its last leg, or should I say on the last tire. Uh, maybe you need, or maybe you, like Karen, you needed a new house. You want a new place to live. She did it. And if you want something else, if you want a closer knit family, this one thing will do it. They will bring the family together because now you got a common goal, a dream. People without a dream, they hardly ever create anything excellent. They just live in the past and rattle along in the present, saying to themselves, oh, yeah, whatever happens will happen. I guarantee you it will happen, but maybe not what you want because you're thinking about the past. Whatever you allow to dwell in your mind the most is what you're going to have in your life.
Yep,
Uh,
and that reminds me of something else, Augie. A lot of people are glued to the screens. I know even myself, it's sometimes hard to put my phone down and to get on. But if we want to be good dreamers and we want to dream into our existence what we want, we gotta put those screens down and spend time in that wonderful creative space. So, and being outside is another really good thing to do. I like to go for a nice long walk every morning and think about things. Think about what I want. Think about what's working well in my life. Think about what's not working so well. Sort of pivoting, changing the direction of my thoughts and my life every single day. And I think that, I don't know, I don't want to speak for you, but I think that's also really important because we can get scared half to death watching mainstream or even alternative news and programming. And there's really a lot that gets y'all whipped up, but doesn't necessarily bring joy or peace or comfort into our lives.
yep, absolutely. And that is for many of us, that is a lifestyle change. Just to get up in the morning and go for a walk. I don't do enough of that. I need to do more of it. And think about it this way also. Science, I mean, Newtonian science, that the whole thing is happening in here. Well, are we sure of that? There's experiments, scientific experiments that prove it's not happening in here. It comes from outside and pass through our brain into our existence. Because our brain is just a computer. It records the present that becomes the past. Okay, that is good. It gives you experience, but it doesn't create the future. That we have to lean on the concept of quantum mechanics that says we create from the mind, not necessarily just the brain, but from the mind. And the brain takes everything for face value. And that is one of the things that you can use in order to reprogram your subconscious mind. And it's pretty simple, actually, because the subconscious mind programs, they run 95% of everything you do every day. You only got about 5% of what you do every day that is new thinking. There's people smarter than me that has come up with those numbers. And when you think about that, dwell a little bit about what do I have in my brain that I don't want anymore? Don't and memories back there. Subconscious mind program that is constantly running, creating your present. Now there's several ways that you can learn, and that one of them is repetition. On Broadcast Team Alpha on YouTube, I created some endless videos of how to reprogram the mind. And this is something I used in flight school when I came over from Europe in, oh God, back in the dark ages. Uh, I had a big tape recorder, the one with two reels on top. And whenever I was going to do a test in the next day or soon, I talked in onto the tape the most important points of what I could expect the questions to come from. And then I had an endless tape, and I put that on and I went to sleep. And that tape was running all night. It was a 30-minute tape. So if I slept for 8 hours, that means I heard it 16 times. And your mind, your conscious mind, is not engaged when you sleep. It went directly into the subconscious mind and became long-term memory. So the next day when I had the test, all I had to do, like with everything else that is long-term memory, I send the trigger in to the subconscious mind saying, what's the answer to that question? And the answer comes from memory. This is something that you can do at home. There is computer programs out there you can do. You can let's say that you have a bad habit, or let's say you got a health issue. Your body knows how to heal itself. Tell it to do it. You can do that in one of those recordings, as well as you can program the mind for success and good health and good memory and all kinds of different things that you want. Talk that in for let's say for 2 minutes or 1 minute on a recording, and run that for, let's say, 5 hours at a stretch. Put it on when you go to sleep, and that thing will go right into your subconscious mind and reprogram the subconscious mind for good things to happen. Now, it's a little bit of work
Wonderful.
putting that together on your own. You could go to Broadcast Team Alpha on YouTube, and you can become a member, and then you just use them there.
Wonderful. Now, the links, everybody, just to remind you, are in the description below. So please do check out Broadcast Team Alpha. Now, Aage, I want to take a short 2-minute break for a promotion, and then we'll come back. And when we come back, let's delve a little deeper into the how-tos to give people practical steps and also more about how they can join your mastermind group. So we'll be right back, folks, in 2 minutes, and we'll continue where we left off. Hi guys, break time for a short message. YouTube will not monetize me, so if you enjoy my content and want to support my efforts, help me to cover my expenses by visiting my shop to buy yourself a beautiful orgone generator. Zendome's Orgonite are my unique brand, and they are ethically sourced, handmade, and double charged for maximum effect. They are only available through my website, www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com. Many people are finding comfort with Zendome's orgone generators, commonly called Orgonite. They are a simple compound which balance ambient energy by converting negative energy and EMF into positive healing energy with many easily confirmed health benefits. They are a simple compound with alchemic and energetic properties. These devices function as self-driven, continuously operating, highly efficient, negative to positive energy transmutation factories. They help diminish the harmful effects of electromagnetic frequency radiation by attracting and converting negative energies, retuning them into new and more healthful sound and light wave patterns. And they help to purify the atmosphere and accelerate plant growth. They also help stimulate positive mood and are a natural remedy for poor sleep patterns. When orgonite is within range of any corded or wireless electronic device, it will efficiently and continuously transform that energy into orgone as it is being transmitted. This essentially creates orgone energy transmitters out of any and all emitters of harmful negative energy. You can use these devices for focusing the mind, healing, meditation, and for spiritual growth. Zendome's orgonite are my unique brand of orgone generators, and they are only available through my website. Don't be fooled by imitations. Check out my website to see my latest selection at www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com. That's KarenHolton healthcoach.com. Check them out today. Now, let's get back to the show. And
Hey.
we're back.
Hey, folks.
So, we're talking about the mastermind today. Oh, there's Augie's got his orgone generator.
Look at this, folks. I got this one from Karen about 5 years ago. I've had it next to the computer for 5 years, and I love this thing. You will too. Here, that's my commercial. So here we go.
Oh, thank you, Augie. Thank you so much. Augie was kind enough to send me one of his books. So I thought, well, I'm going to send him an orgone generator for a fair trade of energy, and both happier as a result. So we're talking today about the mastermind and how anybody can do it. What it is a way for us to basically harness the simulation. Would you agree with that, Augie?
Absolutely. And to make it even a little simpler for yourself and just up and beyond what you see on this show, here's a book, Spiritual Science, Higher Conscious Thinking and How to Access the Universal Consciousness. It explains how to create and work the mastermind, as well as all the other secrets of the universe. I discovered after I had a download when the universe was explained to me in concept and detail. And this book teaches you how to use your mind in ways you normally would think would be impossible. So you should go to Amazon, put my name in there, and the book will come up, and read what is in it, and you can understand why. And gosh, where did we go from here? Talking about the mastermind and how to put it together. We talked a little bit about how a family can do this. And it is important because the people who do it, they are getting great results. But it takes a little bit of effort. You got to do it every day, or some people several times a day. And besides that, learning how to meditate is, I would call it, an absolute must. When I also hear that there are some religious circles that say, "Oh, don't meditate. That's where Satan will come and get you." Now, bullpucky. I'm not worried about him. He's working full time at the Vatican, so don't worry about him. He's got no time for you. So, but learn to meditate. Slow the mind down. You can call it meditation. You can do it in prayer. You can do it in quiet contemplation. Call it what you want. It is a form of the same thing. I guarantee you, you meditate without knowing it right now. All you have to do is to sit down Sit down on the couch, put your feet on the table, and watch a TV show. And your mind is slowing down into the alpha state of awareness of brainwave patterns. That is a form of meditation. Not the one you want, but it is a form of meditation because all the subliminal messages of fear, buy this, buy products, all coming off the TV to you, go directly into your subconscious mind and install that fear and that anger sometimes. And it is there. The subconscious mind accepts everything as a fact. So it accepts that you're supposed to be scared. And if you're on the left in politics, you hate the other side, and that all comes right off the TV. I haven't watched the regular TV for a long time. I got the big screen on the wall, but I watch YouTube and I watch what I want. But I'd say for the ones that want to become successful at what they want and what they want to do and what they want to have and who they can help, pretty much all of them are meditators because slow down the mind. That's when you connect with the universal mind where all the information and resources are. And you can pull that from the universal mind into your existence. And it becomes physical and it becomes memory, it becomes knowledge. So I hope that that little message at least is getting through to a few out there because it is so important.
It
Uh,
is. It's so important, Augie. It's like, you know, people know that exercise is important and you need to have a little bit of exercise every day. Well, the same thing I would say is true about meditation, and especially if we want to use it for manifesting. A little bit every day is better than none. Just thinking about what is it we want, not just what do we want, what would make us really happy, what would make us feel really peaceful. All those wonderful attributes. You know, a lot of people disagree on almost everything, but one thing we can all agree on is paradise. And paradise might look a little different to you, Augie, as it does to me, but paradise is something we could all agree on. We could all start meditating about living in paradise. And I truly believe we could change this world. We don't have to wait for the people with the money and the power to change things. No, we can change it right here. Starts by changing it, at least in my experience, within my own life, then within my own family, within my own inner circle of community, and then it spreads out like ripples on a pond. And we could all be contributing to a better world instead of just sinking into what I would call a low state of dis-ease, you know, where we're stressed and we're anxious and we're worrying about things and we're worrying about all these terrible possibilities that we'd never even think of if we weren't watching
yeah,
you know, the news, right? And so I think we're worth it. And that I think that's the other part. You know, Augie, after I got the house I was telling you about, I said to myself, Karen, why didn't I do this years ago? And I realized it was because I didn't think I was worth it. I didn't think that a fine home was something that I would have. I didn't think it was within my means. I didn't think it was possible. I didn't think I was worthy, but I'm just as worthy as anyone else. And I think everybody out there who hears this message, believe that you're worthy of having the very best. Would you agree with that, Augie?
absolutely. And there's another thing too that is important in the middle of all that is that there's something that a billionaire told me when I was sitting in his living room discussing the economic world, and he said there's two things that go to the bank. One of them is money, and the other one is goodwill, and they have equal value at different times. And I've had a lot of good things happening in my life, and some not so good, but it all comes from the source through my mind and it's expressed around me. So just allow the good things to dwell in your mind. Whenever you have things coming in that is negative, it works as a virus in your computer, and you have to run your virus cleaning program. Meditation and giving yourself direction and orders for the mind to do certain things in meditation. That is your virus program. You can reprogram the mind with repetition and also by directed thoughts about something that, an habit that you have, that you can erase, but also there is action involved. You got to actually go out and do something to replace that bad habit. Bad habits just kind of leave an empty spot. Something's got to fill it. So now you got, let's say that, hey, let's say you're a lush, okay? You're drinking too much. That was me when I was 19. You can quit that, but find something else that is fun to fill the void. That could be all kinds of things that you can fill that void, positive things. So that's one thing that I would suggest. And you mentioned something, we can create a new world. And we are going through a process right now by raising of consciousness, which is, there's nothing we can do to stop it. It's going to culminate in a form of ascension into a higher vibratory existence. You're gonna, if you're alive today, you're gonna see it come. It's gonna be there for you. And ascension is actually real. About 5 years ago, Nori and I had a guest on as a Catholic priest. That was, he went to India because they heard the rumors that people ascended. So he went up to some monasteries there and he saw it happen. There were monks that ascended and there were nothing left except teeth and hair, and everything else was gone. One of them actually turned into a ball of light and disappeared. You Google Father Tiso and you can find his website. He's got the pictures. Ascension is real. We leave the physical behind and we move on to a higher existence. Or we can take the physical with us and move to a higher existence of consciousness. This is going to happen because we are moving around the great circle of our galaxy. Every 26,800 or so years, we end up in the same spot. And that spot is where we are right now. There's a spike of energy coming out from the central sun, the black hole at the center of the galaxy. And when we are passing through that spike of energy, the vibration is rising and we are going with it. So make sure we welcome it. There's ways that you can go through that and miss it. Then you will still remain in 3D or actually 4D with time on the other side. And that's where all the misery is going to be, because the existence we have here is going off the cliff for some that do not believe it can change. They create their own timeline going into the future. All of us that think that things can change for the better, and we get down in our meditative state of mind, create that timeline with our mind, put the things in it that we want going into the future. When you have created a future before you have to live it, all you have to do is to continue doing to help this happen. And you will be drawn up that timeline with good things in it. And when you get there, all you do is walk into it and it is yours. I have proven that for myself. And this is something that is hard to wrap our heads around, but the future can be created before you have to live it. You can take a concept that you want, place it in the future, and go back and forth and visit it every day. That concept could have the concept and details, like Karen said about the house, or whatever you want, put it there and go back and visit it every day, and you get drawn up the timeline to it. And when you get there, you walk into it and it is yours. Sounds simple, doesn't it?
Well, it is simple. It's just shaking off, I think, the brainwashing, the programming, the constant intrusion into our minds from the media and even from other people. There are some people that are just not good to be around. Over the years, I've had to separate myself from some people that just didn't add anything positive to my life. It wasn't that I didn't care about them. It's just that I know where I'm going and I'm not going to let anything anchor me, into the negative. And I just need to keep going. And the other thing too is I'm happy and I'm peaceful and I have a good life and I deserve to have a good life. We all do. Every single one of us deserves to have a good life. But I think first of all we have to believe it's possible. And then, like you said, Augie, we need to create that for ourselves. And, we spend so much time um, cooking in the kitchen, trying to make other people happy, performing at work. But how much time do we spend creating a life for ourselves that's sustainable, that's good, that's rewarding? A lot of people never even think of it because by the time they get home from work, they're so tired, they're just going to throw some food together and watch some TV and go to bed at night. But like what you were saying about breaking the patterns, we have to break the patterns, insert something good, something
Yeah.
worthwhile, and something to replace the negative. And the next thing like I didn't necessarily see results in the day in and the day out, but looking back a year, 2 years, 3 years, holy smokes,
Yeah.
then I see it. And then it really makes me excited, Augie.
Yep. Absolutely. And you mentioned kind of separate you from some people. I hate to say this, but it is absolutely necessary because you will become like the people you associate with. That's a law of the universe because their vibration and their action, their words get embedded in your energy and it'll hold them at their level of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is a tough one because sometimes this involves family.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's a tough one. Uh, if you have a brother in law that is just one negative ball of energy, you don't have to spend a lot of time with him. Just love him from a distance and don't listen or don't associate with him. You can do that. You just don't necessarily have to go to his, you know, parties and whatever, because you
Yeah.
probably have an idea what those parties will be like.
Mm.
So,
You know, Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, no, this is something that If you want excellence, you need to work by the universal principles, and that is surround yourself with people of your knowledge or your vibration or above. You mentioned a magic word a little while ago, Karen, and that was inner circle. There, everybody should have an inner circle. They don't have to call it that, but the inner circle could be family that wants the same thing and are willing to work through the mind and the heart to create the same thing. Now, if you're in business, create an inner circle, create an outer circle. Outer circle is more like people with knowledge that you can get from these people to make your product or your business better. The inner circle are the ones that share your dream, that you can share the dream with them, and you absolutely trust them. Trust is very important. If somebody tells you they don't trust you, that's their problem. And if you don't trust somebody, you don't have to tell them. You just separate yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's difference between two people in if they are together doing something, one of them will vibrate themselves out of your existence, so you will be fine.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I got to tell you another thing that happened to me. This is years ago. I had a friend, and it was just before Christmas, and she came over. And I said, "How you doing?" And she says, "Oh, terrible." She says, I hate Christmas." She says, "I go to my daughter and my son-in-law's place, and all their relatives are there, and they pick on me and they make fun of me. They have nothing positive to say to me, and it's horrible. I hate it. It's torture." And I said to her, "Well, there is a simple solution." And she said, "What?" And I said, "Don't go. Just don't go." And it never occurred to her, never. So I saw her just after Christmas, and she was in such a great mood and vibrant. And I said, "How you doing?" And she says, "Karen, you gave me the best advice I ever got in my whole life." She says, "I called up my daughter and I said, I'm not coming this year. I've got other plans." And that was that. She said it was super easy. And I spent Christmas exactly the way I wanted to spend it. And I had such a good time. Thank you so much. So there you go, Aage. There's another example of what
Yeah,
you're saying being absolutely true.
yep. Yeah, sometimes all we need to do is just to think a little bit for ourselves, not just think about what other people think that we should think. I think that sounded all right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when we live other people's thoughts, we're gonna have what other people have. And boy, oh boy, we better make sure that we want that. Otherwise, we need to think for ourselves.
Yep. And another thing is to listen to our gut. Sometimes my gut says, "Karen, that person just doesn't make you feel good, and maybe you should just, limit how much contact you have with them." And then the mind wants to override it and says, "Well, why would I say that? They could be a perfectly lovely person. What do I know? I haven't even given them a chance." Well, guess what? Every single time I go, I should have listened to my gut. The body has a way of picking up things that our conscious mind doesn't get. And it's such a valuable resource. Would you agree with that, Augie?
Oh, yes. Every time I have gone against my initial impression and my hunches, it doesn't go good because that little mind, that little voice in the back of your head is the universal mind talking to you, telling you, stay away from that guy. Don't do that. Go down there and visit with this guy. He's got something good for you. those thoughts, they show up. Sit down and evaluate it.
Yep. And I think the opposite is true too, where we're drawn to somebody or something and we go, oh, no, 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 I can't do that. I'd be embarrassed, or I'm shy, or I shouldn't do that. But the truth is, fortune favors the bold in my
Yep.
experience. So we got to listen to sort of the gas and the brake pedals of our own soul. I don't know. That's the only way I can think of to say it.
Yep. Absolutely. We got to listen to ourselves when we talk to ourselves. I talk to myself ever so often, and once in a while I catch myself doing it loud because once in a while I need some expert advice, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Me too. I talk to my cats. They don't
Yeah,
say much.
yeah, but they understand because they're
Yep.
good with vibration. It's just like dogs. If a dog doesn't like somebody that they don't like, think
Yep.
twice. You should do the same.
Yep. Yep. And they haven't had a chance to meet the person or give them a chance. They just know. So
Yeah.
same thing for us. Now, Augie, we're not quite out of time yet, but we're getting close to the end. So what I would really love you to do is tell the audience, especially those that are listening on audio, where to email you if they're interested in checking out the mastermind, and tell them what are the steps involved to be able to join the mastermind. What day of the week do you meet? Do you do it on Zoom? How many people are there? Just give the audience a bit of a taste of what the process is to get involved in your mastermind group.
Yeah, that's good. First of all, what we have been talking about here is well described in this book, Spiritual Science, Higher Conscious Thinking, and How to Access the Universal Consciousness. And go to Amazon, put my name in there, and see all the concepts written about. It goes from all the way how the world was created, who created it, and who was God, and all the way down to the bottom. The Big Bang never happened, and you name it. But more so for ourselves, create that mastermind at home. Go into meditative state, know what you want, and create it in your mind. Place it in the future, and feel like you have it right now. And do this every day. You can do it together. You can do it by yourself, visualizing yourself with the other people in your mastermind, because your visualized image brings their energy into your mind. And for those of you that like to join us or come and check out the mastermind that we're doing with some tremendous results, send us an email to themastermindconnection@gmail.com. Themastermindconnection@gmail.com. And I will send you an email with some information and a link to come and join us. We are meeting on Sundays at 11 o'clock Pacific time, 2 o'clock in the afternoon East Coast time, and we spend the mastermind for 1 hour, and then we have a discussion afterwards. We can it can get really deep. We do some teaching. I teach about stuff that we talked about, and other things, and then on Monday night at 8 o'clock East Coast time or 5 o'clock Pacific, we also meet again for 1 hour, where we usually do a little meditative state where we create something that'll make the world better. And then we run a little video and discuss that afterwards. Do the same thing on Wednesday night, 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock East Coast time. So put that on your calendar, and then when you get the link, just come and join us and check it out for yourself. And beyond that, go to broadcastteamalpha.com. Broadcastteamalpha.com if you want to make contact with me or Nori. And we'll get the email and we'll get back to you and see what we can do. Maybe we can help you out with something.
Mhm.
And also Broadcast Team Alpha on YouTube. We are there. We are transmitting on 44 different platforms, 3 TV stations, Roku, and a bunch of other places, and a horde of social media sites. So we get out there, and you can find us pretty much anywhere. So,
Wonderful.
yeah,
Wonderful. Yeah, I encourage everybody to check out your book, check out your broadcast team Alpha, check out the Mastermind Connection at gmail.com. Is that right, Augie?
that is correct.
Yep, and watch your life change for the better. Just if you're tired of the same old, and you want to take a walk on the wild side and experience a whole different level of life, I highly recommend this to everybody because, life for so many of us got better when we started doing these things. And if it can
Yeah.
work for me, because I'm just an ordinary person, I make tons of mistakes. Oh my God, I don't even want to talk about all the mistakes I make. It can work for everybody else as well. So, Augie, do you have anything else happening that you want to tell people about before we say goodbye today?
I want to say that the time for knowing only is over. Now is the time for doing. For all of you out there watching and listening to this, what Karen and myself have done comes from one thing, that we're doing things, not just thinking about it and watching from a distance other people that is doing it. It is us that's got to do for us. And every great fortune or good thing starts in the mind, and then you give it to your hands and your lips and your voice and your brain in order to put it together. It starts in the mind. That's where it, and then you go and do something with it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Good advice, Augie. Well, Augie, it's been wonderful having you on the show today. It's been lovely spending some time with you. I always find you so encouraging and so upbuilding. I'd love to have you back in a few months to give us an update and just tell us all about what you're doing. And I give my best to Nori. And again, all the links will be in the description below. So thank you also to the listeners and the viewers, whether you're watching this live or the replay. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we'll see you next week on the Quantum Guide Show. Bye-bye, everybody.
Okay, and in the words of Spock, live long and prosper.
Thank you for joining me for the Quantum Guide Show. Become the change that you wish to see in the world. Subscribe to my YouTube and other channels at Karen Holton TV. Click the like button, leave me a comment, and share this podcast with your friends. Check out my website at www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com to see my free resources and amazing products and services. All the links will be in the description below. As part of the Forbidden Knowledge Network, you will find the Quantum Guide Show with Karen Holton and also the Aliens and Angels podcast on all audio platforms. Until next time, keep up the good work.